Hello and welcome everyone to Weekend Rental episode 70 motherfucking 8. We are your gaming and geek culture podcast. My name is Ryan. As always, I'm joined by Andy.
Hey.
And Nate.
I feel like I'm watching a steroid commercial.
We've been a podcast for 3 years. It's July 2020. We started this bitch in 2017. That's an achievement of sorts. 3 years.
It's 3 years for you guys, not for me.
Some people are almost all the way to a bachelor degree. We're still sitting in our homes talking about video games as adults.
We're still acting like elementary.
Good for us. So, if you like our content, there's a lot of other great geeky, not only gaming related content, comics, beer, more, all over at geekade.com, podcast articles. Go check it out. What's Your Geek? Geekade.com. That was a great... I don't know something about this. The start of this episode, Nate just got me all hyped up. I got a lot of energy.
I feel like we needed that like club horn, like...
Yes.
That's
we're a morning show
podcast
now.
Yeah, that's our soundboard that we made that noise. We're high tech here.
High tech, super high tech.
Happy 3-year anniversary, guys.
Yes.
This has been
Congrats.
great. I mean, thanks for letting me, join your podcast. I don't know, what am I?
Sloppy hugs to all of you.
Year and a half in?
Oh, you're about 2 years in, I would say.
2 years in.
So we started this thing, Nate, Justin, and I. This is before Nate. What? I got that wrong. Andy, Justin, and I started this thing. I'm backwards. It was just like an idea we talked about, and we went for it. A little rough to start. Justin, a good buddy of the podcast. A little sad to see him go, but he left after about a year. Nate jumped in. Nate quickly caught on, filled the space, and we
really brought the podcast down. So
no, I mean, it was good. It was a new direction, new voice, new friend. We've changed the format. We've stripped down the format, not because the format we had was not good. It's just that our lives 3 years in no longer allow us to continue what we were doing.
I have 3 more kids.
Yeah, just wrap that thing up. I'm just saying. No, things change. The show will change, but we're going strong. 3 years in, I'm happy to be sitting here with you guys at this point and still doing this thing. I think when I started in the YouTube scene, all of us did actually prior to this, and I knew that the podcast was going to have longer legs for me in the long term than my podcast or my YouTube channel would, and that has very much been the case. So I'm glad to still have an outlet and an audience. So for anyone who's listening and has been here from the start, thank you. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
thanks.
Legos.
Oh man, my nipples just got hard when you said that.
Oh,
Legos. This is so exciting for me. I don't know why, but I'm so excited about Legos. Ryan, tell me about Legos.
I mean, that's one of those things. It's like, I'm not a Lego guy. I'm not even a Lego game guy, but I'm an NES guy who also grew up liking Legos. And the fact that we've had this new crossover between Lego and Nintendo for a while now, but the fact that they are taking and replicating the original Nintendo Entertainment Center box, they're giving me an NES system that I'm building, a faux cartridge, a controller, and this little TV, which happens to move, which I don't give a shit about at all, that's right up my alley. So excited about this. I wish it didn't cost $230, but I'm still a big dork, so I'm going to buy it if I can get my hands on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. How many people are going to buy this thing, They probably think it's like some niche, like high-end thing, but it's probably going to sell quite a bit.
I think the scalper market is the part that I'm worried about, because like the pre-orders sold out so fast on that initial like child Mario crossover Lego thing that I really want this. Like, I genuinely want it. I think it's neat. So I hope that doesn't happen, but I think we're probably in the cross sect of two like very feverish markets that could make that happen. Because Lego people are hardcore and retro gamers are hardcore.
Yeah, I think this one's gonna be a tough one to track down. I just don't see it being readily available up in this area, and those scalpers are gonna be jerks. Know it. I won't conform though. So the big $1 million question when it comes to this Lego set, besides it being so stinking awesome, will you actually open it and put it together, being 2,500 pieces or whatever it is? I love Legos, but I think the older I get, the less patience I have for it.
Right.
And I could definitely see why my parents were like, just follow the instructions. Just follow the instructions. So are you actually going to put this together?
Yes, but I will say that not touching a goddamn thing on this thing for $230, you get the hell out of this room. It's a sterilized room. Only dad enters. White gloves, full jumpsuit. It's like going to be it's going to be Breaking Bad up in here while I assemble this thing over the next few months.
It's going to be a lot of gray pieces in that thing.
Oh my gosh. I think the scrolling TV wasn't necessary. But
no, that's the thing.
Very,
right?
very cool.
Yeah, it's going to be overly complicated, but I could have done it with just a static screen. Like for my taste, I wouldn't have cared. But
or even no TV, just the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have that other set coming out, right? The regular Mario. Those seem to be like more mass produced, probably in store.
I mean, maybe,
deals,
but
right?
they came out a month ago, and I haven't been able to find one. They sold out pre-order right away.
Really?
So, and it looks like they like loosely tie into this one with the whole theme thing and Mario sitting on top, which I could have done without derpy Mario sitting on top of this thing to like do the theme, because old school Mario looks so much better, but still very cool.
That costs more than the NES when it was released, right?
Was it $299? I think.
Was it $299? Okay, so it's a little bit
but it
cheaper.
also comes with the TV, so that's a pretty good deal, right?
I guess. I wonder how many people are going to be disappointed thinking it's actually going to play.
So, like, speaking of costs of stuff that we think is like a little absurd, Heritage Auctions, they did another round of auctions. I think it was all online because of COVID this month. A lot of video game stuff went through. I think there were some notable things in the retro scene as far as I think that Saturn, like Sega Neptune or Pluto or whatever it was, the mock-up that went.
Oh, that was on there.
$78,000, not a lot. But the other thing, and thank God it's getting less press this go around, is the original Super Mario Bros. Box with a cardboard hang tab. That's sold with like a 9.4 grading for $114,000, which makes it the most expensive box sealed Super Mario Bros. On the market by $14,000 compared to the one we saw last year.
I think it's the same one.
No,
too,
it's a different. I think it's a different one.
Okay.
And I think the one the year before was the more rare one because it had the actual sticker quality of Nintendo quality, and this one was a print. So I think this was actually a later. I could be wrong, but I think this was a slightly later revision. But I don't know. We've talked about it before, but I think it's always a little like butt puckering, especially given like the current market and COVID prices already like driving things up. But anytime the mainstream market might get a hold of an idea that the most common game in the world is worth a fortune is not good for us collectors.
No.
So,
you know how many messages I got from people that were like, "Hey, don't you have this game? You should sell it."
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, no.
I've never
that's
thought
not
of
the
that.
case. Oh my gosh, 114,000.
Right.
Oh man, multiple people messaged me that day. And did you see this? You have this, don't you have this? Stop.
Yeah. It's a weird wide world of collectors out there for sure, and the people that are paying this much for a sealed game like this, like I don't know what the market is. Like how much of this was spurred by what we saw last year, and I don't know how much of it is spurred by the grading. I think it's a really skewed perspective into our hobby, and I don't think it's our hobby. I think it's investors, and it's weird.
Yeah, or it's just people like the guy that had the Wu-Tang Clan CD. It's like that type of guy that just buys that just to own it.
Right.
You know.
Well, except that guy was a douche. He was selling like AIDS drugs for $20,000 a pill,
Yeah.
but maybe same guy.
It's very well could be.
Yeah, I don't know. It just makes me worry about game hunting every time I see a story like this. You know, what's the future going to hold?
Yeah, that stuff makes me cringe. We've already seen that before, walking around flea markets and, no, this is Mario. This is the Mario game original. Yeah, I know. This is like the most common game in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they think it's golden just because it's retro, and it's terrible for the market. And people are misinformed, and this little pop culture stuff pops up, and people go nuts all over again. And I don't know. The good news is I'm going to be able to sell Mario Bros and Duck Hunt or just Mario Bros for $10,000 and just be like, yeah, this one, good deal, guys. And just buy a whole bunch more.
Double the value.
Isn't there a guy on Twitter? He might be on YouTube. He's a West Coast guy. Chris, I think his name is. And he's got, I don't know how many.
He's got like 600 of them, right?
Right. And so he's sitting on gold right now. Just put it on eBay and let him go crazy for a while.
Might as well, right?
Yeah. Well, speaking of another thing that's way too much money, an Atari VCS for what, $380?
Please take all my money.
That when they announced that, it was 200,
Yep.
right? Okay. That's what I thought, but I wasn't quite sure. I knew it was like 250 at the most.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, they've delayed the VCS. They've delayed it. I mean, it was a Kickstarted or a crowdfunded thing. I mean, we've kind of always mocked it because we're cynical bastards on this podcast. But to finally drop it, announce it's happening fall 2020, and you're dropping a $400 Atari console up against the next gen PlayStation and Xbox, like, you are insane. And I think that's the cheaper model,
No
right?
chance.
Like, there's an upgraded model with like 4 gigs more RAM. That's like another $50 more or something. It's nuts.
Are they just hoping that the other two sell out, like, and then the mom's in the store and like, well, we got to get something for them.
But what store's going to carry this other than
That's
Walmart?
true, yeah.
Apparently is going to have some, but
Amazon.
ugh.
That's it.
There's no games for it. There's no nothing. The hardware is probably still not been finalized. They're just idiots. It's all...
So that was going to be my question. I'm not super familiar with this. I know that, like, we joke around about it, and I know it's a system that's been pushed numerous times since, what, 2018 or something like that?
Yeah, 17.
So
maybe.
what are the games? I mean, what is the games? What are
They got
trying
nothing.
to
They
sell?
announced that they were going to be like partnering with some smaller streaming game thing to offer an online store of sorts, but nobody has any clue. It's bullshit.
Is it all retro stuff?
I mean, maybe
It's not
they,
gonna be-
they have nothing.
yeah, another copy of Frogger
Right.
here.
No, they
so,
don't have that.
Play that on this boutique system.
The Intellivision at least has that, even though it has Tommy Tallarico like blowing smoke up the world's ass. It at least has like pictures of games that are coming out on it. The VCS has jack shit.
They'll push it again,
Yeah.
which would probably be a smart decision. Wait until 2022,
Yeah,
fall 2022.
I don't get it.
They posted that picture too, that like they got their first shipment in, and it was like half a pallet full of them, and
It's all Raspberry Pis.
yeah.
Yeah. Assemble your own.
Yeah.
Not good.
I
They're
feel
just hanging on a thread.
good in my skepticism of this thing. I support I mean, I don't want to shit on anybody who had high hopes or reasonable expectations for this, but I think at this point, both of those have left the building. It's too bad. I mean, I don't want to see anybody get fleeced. I don't want to see company selling false promises to a retro gaming scene that's actively wanting to embrace their past, but Atari is just not done well.
If you're, I mean, this far along in this saga and you're still interested in that, you're gonna buy you're gonna buy anything that has Atari's name on it. Basically, right. That's.
Do you think they treat it like the people that are really excited about this? They treat it like a new baseball season. Oh, this is gonna be the year. This is gonna be the year. I feel
Remember
it now.
The Jaguar? We got this. We got this.
Oh, we're gonna get it this year. Yeah, they're just sitting on hope, knowing that they're gonna get destroyed in October.
Yeah,
if it even comes to fruition. Yeah. So as far as like games I've been playing, I usually don't have much, but I don't know how this snuck up on me. But if you guys remember Bloodstained Ritual of the Night,
yep,
that game has come out. One of the pre-order bonuses or the Kickstarter like stretch goals was that Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, that sort of like 8-bit Castlevania game, came to pretty much everything, was great. It got a sequel. It's weird that the bonus got a sequel, but it did. It dropped, I think, last week on pretty much all platforms. I was a huge fan of the first Curse of the Moon. I liked it a lot better. Like, I think it's the best incarnation of an 8-bit style Castlevania. Obviously, it's got more hardware to utilize that is manageable, but I didn't know it was getting a sequel. I was surprised when it dropped. I downloaded it finally last night. I haven't had a lot of time, but got 4 or 5 levels in a couple hours. Great game.
What's the price point on that?
$14, I think. I think the first one was like 12. So this is right in line. It's got 3 more characters plus the original characters. It's exactly what you wanted if you're a fan of that original one. I will say, with the 3 new characters, they've done like a really kind of smart, subtle evolution as to where their power-ups and special abilities that you collect from lamps play off each other in much more interesting ways, like subtly. I shouldn't say much more, but subtly different ways in terms of reviving health, solving maybe crunch problems as far as enemies go than the original game. The original game kind of tended to focus more on different characters could navigate different paths. This also has that, but it also has this added layer of the other stuff I mentioned. And yeah, it's fucking awesome.
You got me into that game.
Yeah, and it's 2-player. We can do 2-player co-op. So if somebody buys it, I bought it on the Switch. We can do co-op. So if you guys pick it up, cool. I'm all for it.
Man, that seems like it would almost break it, like a 2-player Castlevania game.
It's weird, right? I mean, it's not been done. I haven't obviously tested that, but seems cool.
Huh. Yeah, I love it. Is it the difficulty kind of like the other one where it wasn't like painfully difficult? It was enjoyable all the way through?
Yeah, yep, for sure. I would say that in the 4 or 5 stages I've gotten into, they definitely try to do more with platform traversal and like timing than the first one did. So that's, whether or not that's your bag, you may or may not be frustrated with that, but it's a nice hike in basic difficulty and a nice expansion on the first game. So hats off to
I'll have to check that
all
out.
those people. It's fucking good.
I'm just surprised they didn't make it all weird like Castlevania 2.
Right? It loads every time you walk through the screen. Like, a new moon is what is the thing? Like a new curse, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They were going to put it in. Oh, people love this. I know. People talk about it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, so I need one of you two to download it, or both of you, and then we can play some co-op. So I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
have to do
Those
that.
are
What do you have it on PlayStation?
Switch.
I'm trying to find something other than
Weird.
Fortnite.
I will
Okay,
make
so-
a weird note here. I downloaded it, and when you install it, when it's 100% downloaded on Switch, I don't know if this is just me or if this is common. When you boot up the game for the first time, it gives you like the loading screen, like whoever creates, NT creates, or whatever. I don't even know who it is. And it says, "Okay, game is performing initial, like it is starting initialization." Then you press A, right? No, it doesn't do anything. So you close the game, you go back in. Okay, game's starting initialization. Press A. Doesn't do anything, right? I had to hard reboot the console, go back into the game, and then it finally worked. But it took 4 fucking attempts. Like, no shit.
Oh my gosh.
It was ridiculous. I was like, did I just brick my console with this $15 eShop game?
See, now that sounds like Simon's
Right.
Quest.
Yeah.
I
So,
actually ran
I don't
into
know what's
that.
going on.
I ran into that similar issue with my Xbox One. And this was just a couple of days ago on Monday. My son was trying to play NBA 2K whatever on there, whatever's on Game Pass. And he comes sprinting upstairs in tears. And he's like, "Dad, I didn't read something and I pushed the button and everything's gone. Everything is gone." And I was like, "What?" And so I run down. All the games are gone off the system. It's not doing anything. It's not loading anything. I had to hard reset the Xbox, like factory reset, do all the updates, and then re-download all
Dude, it's
of
like
the
100
games
gigs
that I
just
had.
of like
So
software updates on the OS. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
it was. I was like, "You have a right to cry, child,"
Yeah.
because I'm gonna rig
I
fire on
experienced
you.
something similar because we've been having thunderstorms. It's the Midwest, so we have thunderstorms often this time of year. And I was explaining to these guys before we started the podcast, my kids have gotten very into Slime Rancher. Well, I work so to set the stage. We all work from home right now. My wife works in the house. I, for the sake of privacy, chose to set up my garage or my office in our garage. And my kids were playing in the house in the basement on the PlayStation 4. And I got the low light flicker, right? Like power definitely dipped during the thunderstorm, but did not go fully out. Well, it was enough to soft reboot the PS4. And for anyone who has a PS4 and has an external hard drive, they know that it corrupts that. So my kids, unbeknownst to them, like it shut down. They didn't know why. They restarted it. And until you like fix or repair that external hard drive, nothing works. So they're freaking out. I'm getting texts. I got like 4 texts from my wife. Like, "You got to get in here. They don't know what's going on. The kids didn't do it, I swear." I'm like, "No, I understand exactly what happened, but they have to restore the hard drive." So like this turned into like a 35-minute ordeal where my kids were literally in tears about not being able to continue Slime Rancher until I got this thing finally.
Well, that's nice that they were crying for that reason. My son was crying because
"Dad's gonna beat me."
Well, I mean, he kind of did. So, he was like, "I'm so sorry. I
Yeah.
clicked the button. I didn't read it." Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a beauty to.
So we had a long
Did all of the save
conversation
games?
about that. What's that?
Were all the save games just
Yeah, too
fine?
hard,
They were up
yeah.
in the cloud. I'm
But
guessing,
I mean,
or-
I still had to download
Yeah.
them from Game Pass or whatever.
There's
I had.
definitely
Yeah.
a beauty to the
So,
whole
It was
digital
doing that for
format
2
and-
days.
having all that stuff stored, but when shit goes wrong, like everybody's butt puckers a little bit because you're like, "Am I going to be able to recover this? I don't know." And then we're talking to the guy who had to send his PC
Yeah.
off to HP. So I anticipate I'm going to have about 1,000 gigs of launchers and games to reinstall. So I'm looking forward to that.
Can't believe they held it that long to be like, nope, it wasn't the power supply. Like, what?
Yeah, well, that's what pisses me off is like, "Yeah, we can totally do the warranty work. Nope, we can't fix this." I'm like, I could have contacted HP, explained the situation, that I use it for some of my work, and expedited this whole process.
Jeez.
But thank you.
But yeah, Last of Us. I'm about 5 hours in, and so far it's pretty good. Just like a lot of people have said.
It's everything that you thought it would be.
Yeah, I mean it's it's a very pretty game for sure, and it's like really cinematic, where to the point where there's very rarely any type of UI on the screen at all. Only like when you're using a gun, there might be showing like how many bullets you have. That's about it. And then like it's like traversal, like feels like you're in the actual city and being like, okay, we got see that tall building over there, we have to get to it, and it feels like you're walking the streets to traverse the area to get to it. And there's just no level design. There's just like no levels. It's just like constant. This is the game, It's like you're watching a movie almost, kind of. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Is it terrifying?
Yeah. I mean, the first act, I guess, is pretty depressing for sure. But and I'm sure it'll probably just keep going in that misery, because the whole game seems like it's just revenge. It's just people getting revenge on each other, and so that just turns into shit sandwich at the end of the day.
I've had one of those. They're gross.
There was something in there that just made me realize that games can do something different than what movies can in a storytelling way too, because like when you're watching a movie, everything is very specific to the scene, and they want you to be like, okay, something's going to happen, But in a game, there's lots of downtime, and you're just like, just traversing or just doing whatever. And if they just like interject story into it in those slow parts when you didn't expect it, like that's something that isn't really in another type of media. So it's kind of impressive when it happens.
What's the projection on hours for this game? 40?
It's like 40, I think.
40 hours?
Oh, yeah, I've heard it's, yeah. So for me about 55, because I go through every building, picking up all the scissors and duct tape in the world, even though my inventory is constantly full. So
nice.
But I can't help it.
I mean, you can never really have enough duct tape, right? I mean, you can make pants out of it, a shelter, a wallet. It's kind of like it does everything.
She disagrees because she only carries 3 rolls. So, but like we were talking about how our lives have changed. Like if this game was 3 years ago, I would have played through it by now, and just don't have the time.
Yeah, just kind of like I'm at the point where it's been so many years. Like it's been since Breath of the Wild, right? Where I've had that game where I'm like, no, this has to happen. And at this point, it's going to be either Breath of the Wild 2 or Metroid Prime 4.
Yep.
And I don't know which is coming first. I know that the Origami King comes out on Friday. I know that I'm buying that and probably playing through the majority of it with my kids. But yeah, just like, what's that next big thing? Like, I guess I should count Red Dead 2, even though I don't want to, as I did dedicate a lot of time. But yeah, I don't know. I want that next thing to excite me and like make me want to do that again. But it's hard. It's hard to find something that's worth justifying blowing off your family and maybe a day of work to do. There hasn't been that game.
Right. Nope. Or even if you do have those long games, I just find myself playing like 5 hours and then never going back to it, falling off of
Tony Hawk. When's that come out? August something? Maybe that'll be the one.
Yeah.
What about the latest game released on
that's not going to be a long
PS4 game. Or can't even remember it. The sushi something. No. What was it? This is going to sound so bad. The Asian game that we were just talking about before the podcast.
Oh yeah. The Ghost of Tsushima.
Asian game Sushi.
Today in Racist Gaming Corner, Nate has a topic.
Stop. I think that's really, jerk. No, I think that's really interesting. That when we're recording this, it's released tomorrow, and it's already declared being the best game created for PS4 or whatever it is, they're really building the hype on this, or building this story that this is the greatest game, and it's only been in the hands of a handful of people, probably review copies or whatever it is. And I hate that the game is already defined even before it is released, which we've seen happen a ton of times with lots of different games.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the thing with games media, right? Is like, it's just like films media. It's polarizing. What might be a perfect movie is not a perfect movie for everyone. And I think more so than not, like in games reviewing, it's what you make of it that kind of determines like how much of enjoyment you get out of a game. I mean, I can't even list off the amount of like 6 out of 10 games from like the PlayStation 2 era that I absolutely love that critics would not have given the time of day to. So that's kind of, after that, I really stopped listening to these scores because you kind of have to.
Yeah. They should be required to release them like 2 months
Right.
after the game or a month after the game. Do a proper review.
Yeah. Yeah. It certainly seems that a lot of Sony's games end up in that basket where it's like they get a huge amount of praise right before it comes out. And it just, a lot of it is like
Right.
the most money spent on it. The best production values all the way across.
Right. I mean, there's
Not so much on
visuals
the
or
game
something
itself,
with visceral fun and like intuitiveness is like a huge plus.
Yeah. I guess Death Stranding is kind of the opposite of that, but most of Sony's games.
Hey, that's coming to Steam now. Come on now. That's a big game. Again, kind of for a while.
The mods in that game will be kind of fun.
Yeah.
To see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Ghost of Tsushima is like, I feel like I've heard that name like held to higher regard than I've actually seen trailers that made me want to care about it. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. Most of the trailers, I felt like you didn't really understand what the game was.
Right.
Most of it.
It looked like a feudal
very
Bloodborne
pretty,
almost. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Didn't Neo do that? I'm not sure.
Yeah. But we are at the end of the generation too, so it's like every single game is going to squeeze out everything it can out of the consoles.
That's true. Usually at this point, though, like you're bombarded by sequels to stellar first-party titles. Weirdly lacking here, right? Like, this is probably one of the biggest console transitions where I haven't seen like a blah 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 3 or a blah 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 this, and then it's going to get ported. Like,
yeah,
I don't get it. Like, what happened to that?
Because blah 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 4 was what launched on PS4, so they couldn't do 6.
That's true. I don't know. It was a weird generation. I don't feel like we're there. I don't feel like we're ready for next gen. I don't feel like we got enough out of it because we spent the first 2 years with like a couple killer first party
Sound it out. Use your words.
Prioritized like
yeah.
I don't know. But then it was like a lot of ports. It's like they wasted 18 months of the console generation, and now we're kind of moving on before everyone's ready.
Ports never stopped.
I mean, there was a song on it too.
Boop.
Ports.
I've never heard of this. Is it on YouTube or something?
Yeah, you could just look up Weekend Rental podcast on YouTube. There's a great song out there. Boom.
Yeah.
Plug.
I don't know. And we're going into another console generation soft, We know we're not getting much at launch. We know we're probably not even really getting ports at launch. Like, what the fuck's the point? They could have ran this console generation out another year and a half.
Oh, for sure. Especially when you look at Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, probably that, like, what's another console going to do that makes it?
Right.
I mean, it's almost photorealistic already. I don't know. Just it's probably not going to add much, but I did see a report or something saying that Sony is planning on making 5 million PS5s by the end of the year, which is a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and I feel like they're overestimating how many people might be jumping in right away. I don't know.
And they're probably willing to absorb too much loss based on part like attainability, right? Like
Yeah.
they're paying out the ass for pieces. So
Yeah.
do you want to absorb like a 5 million unit loss, or do you just want to do like a couple mil?
Wait till the parts get a little bit cheaper and then push
Right.
it.
Let's talk February,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very disappointing holiday console launch season. Probably the most disappointing in history because people just A, can't get their hands on it, and B, can't afford it with everything that's going on with COVID. So,
And the games don't exist anyway. Yeah.
right. Just buy a Switch if you can find one.
Like Nintendo,
Play
what is Nintendo doing? Is there any
squandering their opportunity.
Is there any Nintendo game for the holiday?
If they don't get out and announce one soon, they've fucked up. It has to be. I think the only thing they can do is either the slew of Mario remasters, or the better option is Breath of the Wild 2. I think it's not unrealistic to think that they have way more of that done than anyone expects. It's been 3 years.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
but
the same engine. It's been 3 years,
you'd think they'd be building up the hype on that then, if they were.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, because they showed
If
it
you're
once.
expecting Nintendo to do anything that made sense, though.
Yeah, true.
I would say that this year is just is kind of, I mean, it's just the strangest year for me for those new systems and new consoles, because I mean, just like you guys, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know, what are you even promoting? There's no games, I mean, you have to have at least one game to go with the system. And I think
Right.
people are going to get into that hype of just buying something, getting the latest and greatest, and then not being able to do anything with it. If they're,
Yeah.
I don't know. It is very confusing. It's a very confusing season of video gaming. It's just weird.
Yeah. It's not a great time to be like a next gen gamer or like a future forward gamer. It's the time to settle into what is free to play and probably ends in a night.
Yo.
Gamer. So Nate is at home in 2020.
I'm just gonna buy a new system and download
I will
Fortnite.
say I played PUBG the other night again with Justin and another buddy, and pretty enjoyable. We won a good amount of times, like 30% of matches, which is pretty.
That's what I've been doing on Fortnite, and that's why I can't play Warzone, because I get owned every time in Warzone.
Warzone, I feel like, is more defeating.
Yes.
I feel like that win to success ratio in Fortnite and PUBG, if you're competent and communicative with your teammates, is much better.
All right, so you're gonna
I think
download it,
Warzone
buddy.
leaves a lot to chance. No, I'm not playing Fortnite.
How many
anymore.
times do I
still
bug
have
you
it
on
downloaded.
that?
I'm not playing it.
At
Too
least
much. Just download
every other day.
Curse of the Moon 2 and we'll play
which
that.
one?
No, I'm not playing Fortnite. Curse of the Moon 2.
You will. I'll get you. I'm wearing you down, like Steve Urkel would say. I'm
Not
wearing you
doing it.
down.
Nope, not happening.
If anybody's listening and wants to play Fortnite with me, I need some friends. I'm not guilting you. Dang it.
Nope.
I tried.
Speaking of Fortnite and Sony,
Yeah, they should have thought about this before Fortnite hit.
maybe.
They spent $250 million to, I don't know what they're doing.
1%
Yeah.
of the company is what they
Yeah.
got for two, which puts Epic at about $18 billion valuation.
They said something like Tencent did the pretty much the identical thing years ago, and they own 40% now of the company.
So the rumor I heard, whether or not it's true or not, is that Sony Music is working on a video game that is music based. And that would make sense for the buy-in, because if you guys remember, Epic Records used to be pretty prevalent back in the early aughts and had a lot of bands signed.
So they want that.
That may be a thing.
Huh.
That could be one of the things. I also think there's something to be said about them using the Unreal Engine and like Epic, all of that tied into next gen. So there's that, but
yeah.
You're certainly not buying exclusivity at a 1% buy-in, so that's not the reason.
No. Maybe
staggering number though, right? 250 million for 1%.
Yeah, 18 billion for. I wonder how much of that, like, if you were going to separate it, like, how much of it is Unreal Engine, because that's almost a standard in game development, and how much is Fortnite, like, where is that line? Because it's kind of a weird company now.
Yeah. Well, I think they said that Tencent bought in when they did. I can't remember how much they paid, but they ended up with 10%. So Tencent right now could sell and make fucking bank.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just nuts.
Yeah. Not like they need money, but
no, they're wealthy.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta wonder, like, was it Sony or PlayStation? Was it what division of Sony was it that invested? And I have to imagine it may not have been the PlayStation division, or maybe it was. I don't know. I don't know what is left outside of the PlayStation division for Sony. The audio devices, like, they were the name brand, right, when it came to like audio and like digital audio stuff, but that stuff has all fallen off. They don't really have, they never had an iPod, they never had a Zune. Not that Zune was good, but outside of PlayStation, like, what in the electronics realm have they carried forward? The Vios are dead. I mean, I don't know if there's much other than Sony Pictures, and I heard Sony Pictures is
Sony Walkman.
barely making it.
Walkman.
Right, the Walkman.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Retro.
I think they still make
like
TVs,
crazy.
but they're not like the top of the line.
Right. Well, and who cares anymore? We can get a TCL for like $200.
Yeah.
I just bought a 4K TV for my living room for $200. You think I'm going to spend $500 more and get a Sony? Fuck no. I can throw this thing away 3 times before that happens.
Yeah. 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 I don't know what they're really up to, or why they thought this was a good investment. I don't know what they're getting out of it. But
I mean, they don't have a digital revenue source outside of like the PlayStation Store, so maybe this is.
They killed View, so.
Yeah. Well, View killed itself. Yeah, $70 for not cable plus your internet. No thanks.
Kind of sounds like they're all kind of creeping up to that now.
They're getting there. I will say the time that I used View before the price hikes, minus the inconvenience of having to use a PlayStation console for it, View was the best internet cable at the time. I really liked it. It priced itself out. And when Viacom pulled their shenanigans and we lost all that stuff, it wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
None of that matters though when you have PlayStation 5 video game box art.
Feels like somebody removed a layer in their Photoshop file for that and was like,
let's grab that 4 and put in a 5. Guys, we can do this. Yeah, I was unsurprised and underwhelmed by that. Honestly, there's going to be a very difficult distinction in physical formats on store shelves because of that. Because they're not changing the case color, which, I mean, it's all Blu-ray, so of course, I guess, but it looks the same. You just swapped out the 4 and the 5.
Yeah. They committed to the white, too. which I thought was
Yeah, I like that. It's clean.
yeah. But that's kind of their theme of their console. It seems like it's going to be a white console for a while.
Not in today's climate. It's not gonna happen.
Jeez. Yeah, it's. I thought they would do something, but that was a little bit not much.
Maybe it was their attempt to like further hammer home like digital's the way to go because this is the same old crap. For physical, I don't know.
Maybe they'll just start selling them in like sleeves. Here's your disc. Here you go.
Yeah. You go to Redbox and just spit it out in like a silicone shrink wrapped thing on a cardboard piece. Be good.
Did we talk about last time that games might be $70?
Yeah, we did not, but that is a new revelation. Yeah.
Yeah.
2K NBA, right? 70 confirmed.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, that's.
Although that game also has a $100 version with Kobe's dick on the cover or something, because people are like willing to pay for it. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, most of those people put $100 in virtual currency in too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It makes sense. The last time we saw a hike was coming off of PlayStation. Game development is like quadrupled, so sure.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, my biggest argument has been there should always be a distinction between day one launch of physical and day one launch of digital. So maybe you should have gone 80 physical and 70 digital and then solved the problem of like reselling at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's going to be. You have to wonder at $70, does it still climb down to $10, $5 like a lot of these games do? No, you know?
Oh, for sure. If NBA 2K isn't worth $1.99, if NBA 2K21 isn't worth $1.99 12 months after its release on the PS5, I'll be shocked. I'll walk into a pawn shop and they'll be begging me.
So the value of your game is not going to go up. It's just going to be you're paying more for the day one access. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
I've seen some of those NBA 2K. I've seen some of those 2K, like, I don't know, the elite bundles or whatever going for $160 opening day. I can't even imagine. Just, you have to really love any 2K game to dump that kind of money on something like that. It's just crazy.
You know, what it's worth realistically. Like, the thing is like, we saw the advent of microtransactions and paid DLC because of the cost difference.
That's not going to go away.
See a price hike plus, right? It's not right. So it's a little weird. But also, we have a whole generation of gamers who are used to and expecting DLC. So
yeah,
there's that.
I don't know why they can't be more variable on the top end. You know, indie games are variable on what they are for price. You know, like, why can't Last of Us? You look at it and be like, they spent a lot of money making this game, you know, and be like, this game's $80, you know? But I guess that's a slippery slope too. Well,
we're out of topics, but we probably have a few more minutes to fill here, right? I think we should do like a 3 anniversary memories showcase. Memories. Yeah. Oh, damn it. This is an audio only podcast. We can't show our memories. It's a podcast. Yeah. We've done it for 3 years. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
What's your guys' like favorite topic that we've done?
Oh man. Let's see. I liked our TurboGrafx by Rent Burns. Yes. I would say a lot. They were always something to look forward to. always had great games and then some bad games to really riff on. So, yeah, that's a lot of fun. It's kind of interesting that we've been talking about some of the same things for. Feels like we've been talking about the Atari VCS for like 3 years.
But yeah, literally the whole run of this show, we've been making fun of it.
Yeah.
Hashtag Deep Blue is a great game. Hashtag Deep Blue.
Dude, that game sucks so much ass.
That one sticks out of my head every time.
My whole favorite segment forever will always be like the fucking Nate calling Chex Mix Fiddle Diddle. I'm like, what the fuck? Like that, I burst into tears when I hear that segment or remember that segment. Isn't it? Yeah, in the stores it's called Fiddle Diddle, right? I'm like, no. If they called it Fiddle Diddle, people wouldn't buy that.
Hey, we got support from people that were like, yeah, it's Fiddle Diddle.
No, nobody supported that at all. The perverts, the sickies.
Oh man.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things that we've done, and this is going to be kind of strange, I think towards the end of our kind of real big shows that we did was the movie time. And I'm not a big movie guy. I don't have anything creative or deep to say about most movies, but as we were getting to the end and we were just throwing some of those like real classic 80 films that made you sit down and watch them. Was it Heathers was one of them? Was it Heathers? Yeah, Heathers. And then I can't even remember a lot of Harry and the Hendersons and all of those like just really random movies. I actually really enjoyed.
Batteries Not Included was really good.
Batteries Not Included. I actually enjoyed taking the time to watch some of those films that I watched when I was younger, and to have an adult mind with them now, to be like, oh, that's really weird, or whatever. I think I really enjoyed that part towards the end.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Is like I kind of missed that part of the podcast when we weeded that out. I look back at like that and some of the movie time specifically, I thought we didn't ever do a great job of like talking about the movies, but like I loved movie time, and I also really liked the whole topical thing. And I look back at like some of our earlier videos and like the whole memories of rental stores or like memories of Thundercats, and then like certain movie time reviews, and like that's still like our most watched and liked stuff on the YouTube side, at least. Digital like audio, it's hard to know on podcasts, but yeah.
And I never got to experience that the nostalgia stuff. We've gone back and talked a little bit about the systems and some of those memories, but the cartoon memories, I when I came onto the podcast, that wasn't something that you guys were doing. And I remember listening to the podcast early on. That was stuff that I really enjoyed about it. Now it just sucks. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I mean, I think that might be one of those things we need to dust back off, really, because I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed at this point. We've taken enough of a break. We've cut buy, rent, burn. Some of that could come back.
Captain N.
Rotate it out.
Let's just jump through some episodes of Captain N.
Oh yeah,
Captain N. Yeah,
that'd be great.
What was the shitty one that you brought, Andy? Like, it was the like budget Captain N. With like it was Qbert and. No, it wasn't even Qbert.
It was like Quirk from like a puzzle game, and like a basketball player from Arch Rivals, and like Bigfoot.
Yes, it was so shitty. I can't remember what it was called. I was like, I can't believe this ever got made.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that. You know what we should do? Like maybe in a very near upcoming episode is that we should do a recap on that terrible show. You guys probably remember this, where it was like Gretzky, Bo Jackson, and somebody else. It was like the All Stars, like or whatever, and they were basketball and like sports hero, like superheroes.
Yep.
What the hell was that? Michael Jordan might have been the other one. I don't know. We should
Man,
do
yeah.
that.
If you
I
guys
remember that
know,
show,
let us know. If you're listening, I'm sure Brandon knows or something like that. He can drop in. Which came across as a budget, like just good enough cartoon or show.
Yes. Good stuff.
I also liked doing some of the trivia at the end. That's a memory because I think it's very clear that I don't know anything about video games, even though, all of our listeners are convinced that I really know everything, just because I study a lot right before the show. I just think it was funny to just pull random answers out of the air and say anything I don't know. It was just me being stupid. I really enjoyed that.
There was definitely something to the fail bag too. There was, like we said in the intro, like there was definitely something to the well-oiled format of like BRB, whatever we wanted, and fail bag that like when it was firing was great. It's just, it was also very demanding in terms of like editing and us prepping for the show that made it kind of like not doable. So not that we couldn't get back.
Or you just
there.
run out. Yeah, we just run out of the hidden gems of Byron Byrne, and we run out of the good questions.
That's the thing, is like we turned Byron Byrne into torture. We turned movie time into torture. Trivia was okay, and like failbag was okay for a while. Yeah, it got rough.
You guys getting the trend here? We take it to the worst possible place that we can. I'm gonna make you watch this. I'm gonna make you play this.
Yeah, if we have an opportunity to fuck each other, we're gonna do it.
I don't know about that
note.
Ooh. Avoiding that one.
Probably time to pull us
Andy.
out. Take us out, Nate.
Well, thanks for hanging with us for the last 3 years. We really appreciate it. Make sure you're following us on our social medias, Twitter, YouTube, all of those things. You can find all things Weekend Rental at weekendpodcast.com. You can find all things. No, I already said that. See, this is where we go. It's on a loop in my head. Anyways, you can find more things about the Weekend Rental crew. I call this a crew at geekade.com. That's all I had for you. That was terrible. Bananas. Actually, rotten bananas now.
3-year-old bananas.
I got nothing.